In fact, they had lodged a petition to the government that permission to build a minaret should not be granted. When the promised Messiah ﷺ heard about the impending arrival of the local official, he said, "Very good. Our friends should give him a fitting welcome, and they should show him the site." That is, various Ahmadis should go and give him a warm welcome and show him the area. So then he says further on that it is decreed by Allah that the minaret will most certainly be built and nobody can halt it. And then by the grace of Almighty Allah it was constructed. He writes regarding the promised Messiah ﷺ's general sitting posture and his manner of walking. He says that I have seen in gatherings the promised Messiah ﷺ's eyes would be cast down and would appear as if shut. But when Hazur ever lifted his glance towards me, I could not bear it and would immediately lower my gaze. He says that this perhaps relates to the last days of his life. He said, I sent a request to Hazrat Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmad, Khalifatul Masih Sani, may Allah be pleased with him, for a meeting or a mulaqat with the promised Messiah alayhi salam. Hazrat Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmad, may Allah be pleased with him, was around 17 or 18 years old at the time. The promised Messiah alayhi salam called me up to him. I said to him, when I was a non-Ahmadi, I partook in a fund at my office. The name of this fund was the Fortune Fund. There were 15 to 16 people who would give 8 anna each monthly. The total amount was put in a lottery and the profit was divided or shared. So he says this continued even after I became Ahmadi. Subsequently, once 115,000 rupees were won in the lottery by us, and I received a share of around 7,500 rupees or thereabouts. So he says that I thought, he now asked that after becoming an Ahmadi, is this still permissible? After inquiring from Hazur, the promised Messiah ﷺ replied that this is not allowed. The method of lottery, etc., the amount should be spent for the propagation of Islam, because nothing is forbidden for Allah as such. So he then gave some of the amount towards Janda, and he distributed the other amount amongst the poor. Another narration relates to Hazrat Muhammad Ismail Sahib, son of Maulvi Jamaluddin Sahib of Sikwa, district Gurdaspur. He saw the promised Messiah ﷺ in 1904 and he was a born Ahmadi. He says that I was around 24 years old when the verdict of Karamdin Jalmi, that is, the case was going to be announced on that day. I arrived the day before from my village. The promised Messiah ﷺ was staying there in a house, and it was a very hot day. The promised Messiah ﷺ was sitting in one of the rooms. There my father, Mia Jamaluddin Sahib, Mia Imam Din Sahib Sikanvi and Chaudhry Abdul Aziz Sahib were all present. I arrived and started waving a hand fan upon the promised Messiah ﷺ. Hazur saw me and then smiled towards my father and said, Mia Ismail has arrived and also taken a share in the blessings and reward. Whenever I remembered how Hazur became happy for such petty service, it gave me elation within. Muhammad Akbar Sahib, son of Akhwan Rahim Baksh Sahib of the Pathans of Dera Ghazi Khan, writes, my father's paternal uncle Akhwan Amir Baksh Khan Sahib of district Muzaffargarh was a sub-inspector of the police. When I became Ahmadi, he received his pension and came to his house in Dera Ghazi Khan. In those days, the head of the Jamaat in Dera Ghazi Khan was Maulvi Aziz Baksh Sahib. He was the elder brother of Maulvi Muhammad Ali, who later became the Amir of the Lahoris. So he was the elder brother. Maulvi Aziz Baksh Sahib was a civil officer in Dera Ghazi Khan. In the area he lived was a mosque which was always deserted. It always remained desolate. Jamaat Ahmadiyya renovated it and started using it and began offering prayers there. A non-Ahmadi Maulvi by the name of Fazlul Haq came to this area and lived there in a rented house. He incited the local people. Hazur says this is what happened then, and the exact same occurs today. So that person continues that Ahmadi should be removed from this mosque. He collected some students and started teaching them in the mosque. Hazur says that this concept of the madrasa and the disorder and possessions by the students of the madrasa, it still occurs even today.